Welcome, everyone. Have you noticed that the louder we yell to prove our point, the less respect we actually get? Real power doesn't come from raising your voice. It comes from using the right words that demand attention. Today, I'll share with you 5 powerful phrases that will help you stand your ground, set boundaries, and earn respect without ever having to shout. Trust me, once you start using them, you'll see people treat you very differently. 5 powerful phrases to command respect without raising your voice. In life, have you ever found yourself facing harsh words, disrespectful attitudes, or even direct provocation? Most people usually choose one of 2 paths: staying silent to avoid conflict, or raising their voice to prove they're not weak. Yet both approaches share one flaw. They don't truly earn respect. Respect doesn't come from who yells louder, nor from anger that overwhelms others. It comes from composure, from emotional control, and most importantly, from how you use your words to assert your value. Here are 5 deceptively simple yet incredibly sharp phrases that can help you earn respect without ever needing to shout. 1. I understand your point, but I disagree. This phrase shows class. It sends 2 clear messages. You listen and acknowledge the other person, yet you stand firm in your own perspective. 2. I don't find that appropriate. Short, sharp, and powerful. A boundary-setting phrase that communicates. That's not acceptable to me. 3. Let's talk when we can do so respectfully. This phrase establishes respect as a foundation for any meaningful conversation. It positions you as the one in control, not the one reacting. 4. I prefer not to continue this conversation. This shows strength, not weakness. Walking away when a conversation is no longer constructive proves you own your time, your energy, and your emotions. 5. That's your opinion and I respect it, but I don't share it. Respect doesn't mean agreement. This phrase lets you honor differences without surrendering your voice. Final thought. Real strength in communication isn't about volume. It's about mastery. These phrases allow you to stand firm, stay calm, and earn lasting respect without raising your voice. 5 powerful phrases to command respect without raising your voice. In everyday life, we often find ourselves in tense situations, a heated family argument, a disagreement at work, or even a small misunderstanding in casual conversation. There are times when the other person may raise their voice, try to impose their opinion, or act disrespectfully. If you respond with anger, the result is usually broken trust and greater distance. But if you remain calm, you'll surprise them. That calmness, paired with the right words, becomes the very force that earns you respect. One of those soft weapons is a phrase, I understand your point, but I disagree. This sentence seems simple, yet it carries great wisdom. It shows that you have listened and respected the other person, but also sets a clear boundary for your own standpoint. Imagine you're in a meeting. A colleague suggests an idea, but you realize that implementing it would waste time and resources. If you react bluntly with, that idea doesn't make sense, the atmosphere will turn heavy instantly. But if you say, I understand your point, but I disagree. I think we should consider another approach that might fit better. The colleague will feel acknowledged, yet they'll also understand that you stand firm. It's a way to preserve harmony while keeping respect intact. The next phrase is, I don't find that appropriate. This is a short, powerful, and non-offensive response. It works particularly well when someone's behavior or words cross the line. Imagine you're at a gathering and someone makes a joke about your appearance or says something off color. Instead of forcing a laugh and brushing off, you look at them directly and say, I don't find that appropriate. That single line sets a clear boundary, forcing the person to stop. It's like holding up a mirror to reflect their lack of tact, without lowering yourself to their level. Another situation often arises when conversations become heated and the other person loses control. In that moment, the phrase, let's talk when we can do so respectfully, becomes the smartest choice. It's as if you're laying down a condition. If you want to talk to me, calm down and show mutual respect. Picture a family argument, with voices rising and tempers flaring. If you shout back, things escalate. But if you calmly say, we'll continue this conversation when we can do so respectfully. The room pauses. You've sent a clear message. Respect is a prerequisite for dialogue. It's a way to preserve your dignity while reminding the other person to readjust their tone. Sometimes, the best way to protect your peace is to walk away completely. That's when the phrase, "I prefer not to continue this conversation," becomes a graceful exit. Imagine you're talking to someone who keeps attacking, criticizing, or provoking you. If you keep engaging, you'll only drain yourself. Instead of trying to prove you're right, you can simply smile and say, "I prefer not to continue this conversation." In that moment, you stepped out of a pointless cycle, showing the strength of someone who knows when to stop. And finally, when you encounter differences in opinion, there's this phrase, "That's your opinion and I respect it, but I don't share it." It's both polite and firm. It doesn't invalidate the other person's viewpoint, but it makes it clear that you don't adopt it. Imagine debating sensitive topics like politics, religion, or philosophy. Sometimes, there's no need to push for a winner or loser. A simple, "That's your opinion, and I respect it, but I don't share it," closes a conversation at a civilized level. It shows confidence in holding your ground, without turning disagreement into conflict. All of these phrases have one thing in common. They don't require shouting or anger, yet they carry enough weight to make others pause, listen, and respect you. They serve as doors you can step through to avoid needless clashes, while preserving your inner peace. Respect doesn't come from who speaks the loudest. It comes from who remains composed, tactful, and grounded. Those who know how to use words wisely will always earn admiration, because they don't need to raise their voices to prove their strength. Their strength lies in the calm intelligence that shines through every word. Powerful phrases that earn respect without raising your voice. In everyday life, we've all been in situations where someone spoke to us disrespectfully, or where a conversation turned heated and uncomfortable. Many people believe that in order to defend themselves, they need to be tough. Sometimes even raise their voice just to prove a point. But here's the truth. Shouting rarely earns respect. More often, it makes you seem less composed and undermines your credibility. Wisdom, both ancient and modern, shows us something different. Respect doesn't come from the loudness of your voice, but from the steadiness of your words. Sometimes, just a few carefully chosen phrases can stop someone in their tracks, shift the tone of the conversation, and command respect instantly without ever raising your voice. Imagine this. You're in a meeting and a colleague keeps interrupting, dismissing your ideas with an aggressive tone. Instead of clashing head-to-head or trying to outshout them, you calmly say, "I understand your point, but I disagree." That single sentence carries weight. It shows you've listened, but you're not backing down. It sets a boundary without hostility. Suddenly, the energy in the room changes. You've made it clear that you won't be bullied, yet you remain professional. Or picture yourself at a family gathering. Someone makes a joke that crosses a line and embarrasses you. Many people would laugh it off, staying silent to avoid conflict. But silence can sometimes be mistaken for acceptance. Instead, with a slight smile, you respond, "I don't find that appropriate." That short, firm phrase is like a shield. No anger, no insults, just clarity. And in that moment, everyone understands. You respect yourself enough to draw the line. Now consider a different scenario. A debate with a friend turns sour. Voices rise, emotions flare, and respect begins to fade. Rather than getting dragged into a shouting match, you can pause and say, "Let's talk when we can do so respectfully." This is powerful. It puts the responsibility back on the other person. You just said, "If we can't treat each other with respect, this conversation has no value." Not only does it protect your peace, but also preserves a relationship by refusing to let disrespect take over. There are also times when wisdom means knowing when to walk away. Some arguments are endless, draining your energy without bringing any resolution. In those moments, you can simply say, "I prefer not to continue this conversation." This isn't weakness. It's strength. It means you value your dignity more than winning a pointless fight. True maturity isn't about defeating someone with words. It's about knowing what deserves your time and what doesn't. And in a world full of different opinions, it's natural to disagree. But disagreement doesn't have to mean conflict. Instead of turning a difference into a battle, you might simply say, "That's your opinion and I respect it, but I don't share it." This phrase balances courtesy with confidence. You're not dismissing the other person, but you're also not surrendering your own perspective. You respect their right to think differently, while standing firm in your own beliefs. At first glance, these phrases may look simple, but when applied in real situations, they become powerful tools that help you stay calm under pressure, protect your dignity without aggression, build an image of maturity, wisdom, and strength. The truth is, people who know how to use words wisely never need to shout. They command respect naturally through clarity, composure, and confidence. Because at the end of the day, respect is not something you demand with a raised voice. It's something you earn with presence and poise. Powerful phrases that earn respect without raising your voice. Respect. It's something we all crave, yet it's not something that can be demanded or forced. Too often, people assume that the louder they speak, the more authority they project. But the truth is, shouting only reveals a loss of control. The strongest people, the ones who truly command respect, are often the quietest in the room. Their strength lies not in their volume, but in their presence and their words. Throughout history, leaders, philosophers, and even everyday people have shown us that calm, deliberate speech can shift an entire room. When you speak with clarity and firmness, you don't just deliver words, you deliver weight. And sometimes, all it takes are a few simple phrases, used at the right time, to make others stop, listen, and respect you. Let's explore 5 such phrases, not just as abstract concepts, but through real-life stories that show their power in action. I understand your point, but I disagree. Picture yourself in a corporate boardroom. The air is tense. Numbers and strategies are flying around the table. A senior manager dismisses your proposal outright, speaking over you as though your opinion doesn't matter. The natural reaction? Fight back. Raise your voice. Demand attention. But instead, imagine you take a calm breath, look them in the eye, and say, I understand your point, but I disagree. Suddenly, the dynamic shifts. You've shown that you are listening, that you're not stubborn or careless, but you also refuse to be silenced. You've acknowledged their perspective while standing firm in your own. This phrase has been used countless times by leaders who had to push back without burning bridges. Think of Abraham Lincoln, who was known for his ability to listen attentively, then quietly and firmly state his disagreement. He didn't need to shout to change minds. His calm disagreement often carried more weight than anger ever could. I don't find that appropriate. Now, imagine a family dinner. The atmosphere is light. People are laughing until someone cracks a joke at your expense. Maybe it's about your career, your appearance, or a personal choice you've made. Others chuckle, waiting to see how you'll react. Most people would laugh nervously, swallowing their discomfort to keep the peace. But what does that teach others? That you'll tolerate disrespect. Instead, you look directly at the person and say, with a composed tone, I don't find that appropriate. The room falls silent. You didn't insult them back. You didn't make a scene. But you drew a clear line. At that moment, you've taught everyone in the room how to treat you with respect. This is exactly how boundaries work. They're not loud walls you build, but calm fences you set with your words. Let's talk when we can do so respectfully. We've all been in arguments that spiraled out of control. Voices get louder, tempers flare, and suddenly the original issue is lost in a storm of emotion. Imagine this. You're debating a project with a colleague, and they begin raising their voice, attacking not your ideas but your character. The easy path would be to fight fire with fire. But instead, you calmly say, let's talk when we can do so respectfully. That phrase is a pause button. It resets the conversation. You've made it clear that respect is a non-negotiable condition for communication. Think of Nelson Mandela, who spent decades in prison, yet never allowed anger to poison his words. When negotiations for peace became heated, Mandela often stepped back, reminding others that only respectful dialogue could build a future together. That restraint is what earned him respect, not only from his supporters, but even from his former enemies. I prefer not to continue this conversation. Not every battle is worth fighting. Sometimes, the greatest strength lies in walking away. Take, for example, a heated political discussion with a friend. You realize quickly that no one is listening, that both sides are locked in their own echo chambers. Instead of exhausting yourself, You say, I prefer not to continue this conversation. You haven't surrendered. You've chosen peace. You've shown that your energy and dignity are worth more than winning a pointless argument. This echoes the wisdom of Stoic philosophers like Epictetus, who taught, you always have the power of not having an opinion. By refusing to engage in endless conflict, you prove that you control the conversation, not the other way around. That's your opinion and I respect it, but I don't share it. Finally, consider this. In a world of diverse perspectives, disagreements are inevitable. The key is how you handle them. Imagine a coworker passionately shares a belief you don't agree with. You could challenge them, turning the workplace into a battlefield. Or you could simply say, that's your opinion and I respect it, but I don't share it. This phrase is disarming. It prevents conflict while allowing you to hold your ground. It communicates both tolerance and confidence. Mahatma Gandhi embodied the spirit. He deeply respected the views of others, even his opponents, but he never abandoned his principles. His ability to stand firm without aggression earned him respect across nations. The quiet power of words. When you combine these phrases with a calm demeanor, you gain a rare kind of power. You protect your dignity. You establish boundaries. And most importantly, you show others that you don't need to shout to be heard. Respect isn't granted to the loudest voice in the room. It's given to the voice that speaks with wisdom and certainty. So the next time you're in a heated meeting, a tense family dinner, or a disagreement with a friend, remember, your words are your armor. Use them wisely, and you'll discover that respect is not something you demand. It's something you earn.